Hi, my name's Pop, or you could call me Pop 102. I'm a max-up player, a hyper-tapper, and I've been playing NES Tetris for over a year. And we'll go straight to the tutorial about everything about hyper-tapping. So first off, I think we should talk about the grips. There are many different kinds of grips people play, but I'm gonna talk about three of them. I think probably the most weirdest grip, but the most common, or maybe not most common, but it's known from the pro players. I believe Corion and Joseph Saley's grips. I don't know if you ever seen it, but it's kind of weird. But they hold it like this, where the thumb is always on the left of the pad, and then they have their buttons like this. And to hyper tap, so there's normal tap and there's hyper tapping, because sometimes you don't want to be always hyper tapping, because you might want to press just a little bit. So the normal tapping, I've seen them, so like the thumb always stays right here, and then the index finger could normal tap on the right side. But when they hyper tap both left side with the index finger and the right side, like this. And then I've seen, I think Corion, he alternates with his ring finger when he does this. I don't think he ever uses his pinky. I'm not sure. I don't know about Joseph, but that's how they do it. So they usually hold it like this. They rotate on the right side. It's really weird, but I think one of the reasons why this method is doable is because I think one, there's more flexibility. I think it's kind of weird, in my opinion, to rotate with your fingers on the right, but hey, it works for them, right? And I think the biggest one is the posture, and I'll get to that. So, and then the grip, the second grip is what I use, and that is holding the controller like this, so I could alternate between these two, and I could rotate with my thumb. I've seen people play like this, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's just preferability at that point. But yeah, I hyper tap and normal tap with both my middle and index finger, and I rotate with these. And to me, this is way more natural. I think, and I'll talk about a little bit with the posture. Recently, I've been kind of having wrist problems every time I play NES Tetris. I don't know if it's because I play other games, but it is I will say it's a bit uncomfortable holding the controller like this. I might have to figure out different ways. It's very weird for me, but so far I've been using this grip for about a year now, so it's been working out for me. So this is one of the grips. We'll talk about the last grip. The last grip is the most natural grip, and it's holding the controller normally. There's a player named Bernie, or Richard. If you don't know who he is, he has many 1.2 million scores, max out scores. He's great. But I've asked him, and he's actually told me he holds the controller normally, and he vibrates with his thumb. And I'm not so sure how he does it. I don't know. I feel like he doesn't do this. Maybe he does. Maybe he does. I don't know. But I feel like my theory is he vibrates towards the end or the middle of the thumb, because one's a shorter distance, and I could do it. I could definitely play like this. It's just very weird for me. I don't have the muscle memory for it. I don't have the strength for it. But yeah, it's very natural. I think it works out for a lot of players. I think anyone could play like this if they really put the time into it. I think, but now let's talk about how to hyper tap. So how does it work? I think the most important thing is it's all about vibrating your finger, or not just your finger, but your arm, your wrist. It's depending on what's comfortable to you. You gotta do everything in your power. I used to move my entire arm. Now I'm moving mainly just my hand and my wrist when I hyper tap. For me, I don't know, everyone's experience could be very different, but for me, I had a lot of trouble hyper tapping, maybe like my first few weeks. Like my fingers and my hand were cramping like a lot, and it was hurting a lot. I don't know if it was I was straining it too much, but man, like after like 30 minutes to an hour playing, like my fingers were hurt so much on my fingers. And for a moment I thought maybe hyper tapping wasn't for me, but I kept striving, I kept doing it, and after maybe like 3 months, I got used to it, and the pain kind of went away. Maybe I just ended up getting used to it. But after that, I didn't really have any more finger pain. Um, but just don't hurt yourself. Other tips I could give you is don't don't press down too hard, because you're gonna end up losing a lot of stamina when you're playing. I think as a hyper typer, if you really want to get consistent at it, you're gonna have to play a lot, because it really comes down to stamina. Um, because you're gonna not just strain yourself, but you're gonna wear yourself out while playing, because when you're playing level 19, you're gonna be hyper tapping a lot. While level 18, you could just do normal tapping. Um, but I think what's pretty important is when you're vibrating your finger, you want to press down lightly as possible, but to the point where you're able to, where the game will register to it. Because you want to press lightly, but it will count. Because depending on the controller you buy, I know this might be a defect, but I know sometimes when you press too lightly, it'll count it as twice, and you don't want that to happen sometimes. Especially if you're not trying to go for like all the way to the wall, for example. It's really important that or no, yeah, okay, yeah. Well, basically what I just said. Tap lightly to the point where it registers, because when you tap lightly, you have more stamina, and you'll be able to continue through with your hyper tapping. There are many videos out there. Look up videos on how to tap really fast on a controller, how to vibrate a certain way. There are many methods on tapping faster. That's what it really comes down to. And eventually there comes to a point where if you ever want to tap faster, one, it's gonna take time. I mean, it's super impressive seeing Joseph Saley tap and Richard. Like, they are absolutely the fastest tappers right now. I wonder how they do it, but I'm sure it's just that over time they've been able to consistently tap lightly and fastly, I guess, like fast enough to where they could tap really fast. I know Bereni said he could average around like 17 to 18 taps if he really like went for it. I think he said something like that, which is so fast. For me, my average is maybe like 14, 15. But oh man, like I dip low sometimes I get 18, but I know everyone's progress is different. I hope you enjoy the video though. I hope you learned something from hyper tapping. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below. Thanks for watching.